The thing that CIC gave us, which, again, in hindsight was brilliant, was a very flexible cost structure. Again, it's charging per head, and the ability to very fluidly grow from nothing to big.
You could just move in. There was, phones were there, copiers were there, desks were there, chairs were there. You brought in your computers and you were done. The network was there. So we wanted an open floor plan. We wanted the flexibility to move in and move out quickly. We cared about what our monthly rent was. We cared about not thinking about anything other than writing good code. And it was a no-brainer.
There's a spirit of entrepreneurship and innovation that pervades CIC that I think is really different than just about any other office space.
I've been a CEO in Cambridge-based software companies for something like 17 years. And I've had 2 years ago I had 50,000 square feet leased in Cambridge. And I would have to say that this is the best run office from the viewpoint of the experience that I've been associated with, including the ones I've managed.
Great office, great view, nice building, very nice conference room. So it's a great place to host potential customers, clients, investors. It really gives a nice feel to and credibility to your business.
We have invested in companies that were based in somebody's basement. I would say, though, the thing that inhibits you a bit there is you typically want to go see the company, and you want to have the sense that the team is working together and that there is some substance to it. And so if the company has no office space, or if people are working virtually out of their homes, that it gives you the impression that maybe this isn't really here yet. Maybe there's not a company to invest in. And I think that's why most companies, as soon as they can afford it, will go get a space and have that be the company space.
Tim Rowe has a really good model in mind, because one thing he was very good at doing was always bringing in and introducing new people, either through having a semi-formal presentation of somebody or just walking down the hall and saying, oh, by the way, you ought to meet this guy. And he was always right.
The angels and investors come in on a regular basis to check up on their portfolio companies which are within the space, and they see what else is going on here. And we just had walk-ins essentially coming into our office space, asking a little bit more about what we're doing, and the same angels who have backed another company here have been looking at us, and they probably would not have been aware of us if we were not in the same space.
I'm not going to have competitive advantage by being a smarter office manager than my competitors. That's not what my business is about. We're search technology. We're going to have competitive advantage by building better search technology and selling it better. And if I never have to have a meeting on what we're going to name the conference rooms or how we're going to handle the mess in the kitchen, look at carpet samples for the recarpeting project in the hallway, or listen to employee complaints about the bathrooms, that's okay with me. I don't need to ever have those meetings again. And when you run your own space, you allocate brain cycles and management time. You have management meetings on stuff like that sometimes. And it's okay with me if I never do that again, and if none of my employees ever have to worry about it again.
Some of the other options had ridiculous charging mechanisms where every time you wanted to use a conference room, you were charged per head, per hour in that conference room. It was very draconian, the way in which you had to engage in the use of the conference rooms, etc. And CIC, I think, had a totally refreshing approach to how they actually charge out their facilities, which is, it's simple. It's a flat fee. It's a flat fee. You come in, and everything else is at your disposal. So that was a big part of what made the decision for me.
For fast-growing companies, it's a very easy decision, because what you do in a fast-growing company is you overpay for empty space. So you move into you've got 10 people, you move into 10,000 square feet of space, you're wasting 9,000 of it, but you need it for the future. So when I look at how much you're paying, it's not on a per square foot basis. It's how much do I need to pay to achieve what I want to achieve? How much are you paying a month to accomplish what you want to accomplish? And the flexibility of moving out on a 30-day notice is tremendous, because you can't predict the future. You can't predict your hiring. You can't predict much when you're a startup company.
That was another thing that we found very unattractive about other spaces, is that we had to make commitments of sometimes 2, 3 to 5 years in order to secure a space. Not only have to commit to the building people that you're going to be there for several years, but a lot of infrastructure providers require long commitments as well. Here, I mean, we don't have to tell Verizon or whoever that we're going to do an 18-month or a 24-month commitment on the lines or on the internet connection or anything like that. I mean, you don't even know what the world's going to look like in 6 months. How do you know what your company's going to look like in 5 years?
I know it's a tiny detail, but the partitions, that you can be a 1-bay company or a 2-bay company or a 3-bay company. We expanded 3 times, and it was painless. I mean, it was really, really painless. Even here in a space like this, where we own the entire space and it's very open format, moving people around is not as easy, even in a place like this as it is at CIC. Partly because the flexibility of just being able to move walls, and all the furniture is made to move around, and there's hookups for all the hot and cold running internet and stuff that you need just at hand, is great.
Speed is always of the essence. Speed and lack of distraction. And this place really allows you to achieve that speed and the focus that can make a lot of difference early on.
Once we moved here from CIC, it became so obvious, how much work it takes to maintain the office. Essentially, we have 2 full-time employees who manage a small office. I mean, that Monica and Boris used to do, so we have to actually pay those people.
It's like these people are a part of your company. I mean, so very easy to work with them, and they are very responsive, very nice, always open, calm, and even if you came a bit stressed, they take care of you. They look very patiently to the problem and they solve it. So.
There's just this kind of informal network that happens where you're looking to meet somebody in this particular industry, and Todd Hickson happens to know this person, or Tim knows this person. It's also a great brainstorming environment. You're constantly, within this ecosystem, exposed to fresh ideas and new people.
I was surprised at the kind of tenants there were. I assumed it would be all small, high-tech software companies like ourselves. And actually, there was a really broad range. There were pharmaceutical companies, there were hardware companies, there were PR companies and medical companies.
You'll look around, you'll see an optics company, a software company, a device company, and a venture firm. And the types of conversations that are catalyzed with people coming from those different directions are much more valuable than people who are just doing the same thing in different flavors.
They were very good at helping us through some of the challenges that we had as running as a virtual organization with offices in Cambridge, in the UK, in London, and in Delhi. Boris and the team worked very hard to help us engage in this office within that virtual environment.
Everything about the operation is smooth and hassle-free. And I compare that to my experience when I was the CEO of a company that was managing our own space. And it's very different. And I think partly that's because my experience has been that there's a universal human tendency to treat family members and coworkers with less than full consideration, but to treat romantic interests and customers with over-the-top consideration. And here, I'm a customer. If something's wrong with the building, if my wireless connectivity isn't working for some reason, I contact the leadership here at CIC, and I say I'm having a problem. And the gut level reaction is, because I'm a customer, is to stop whatever's going on and fix it on the spot.
So it's very important also when you organize meeting with people coming from outside. The image is really important. So also, that's another reason why we choose the CIC, is that they really put the accent on the quality of the conference room.
What I was instantly struck by was the atmosphere in these offices as compared to anything else that I'd seen. The minute you walk through the door, you feel like you're in an exciting, vibrant, high-tech, startup type environment.
I don't know, it's a kind of atmosphere. You can just feel it when you enter the space.
This is the early stage of your company. This is when you're going to set the standard of the culture in your company. This is when you're going to attract some of the most important players in the startup of your company. So being in the right atmosphere, to me, outweighs many of the other considerations. The benefit that CIC brings is not only do you get the right atmosphere, but actually you get better facilities, better economics as well as a part of the process.
We made a promise early on to our employees that we would be located near the red line. And we actually fought some of our early investors about this. They wanted us maybe, isn't there cheaper space available out on 128? And that's a false economy. We were able to get really good talent and get good people who really like taking public transportation. You could just take the red line to the Kendall stop and boom, walk right over.
In a lot of these office complexes that are 20 miles from the city, you can't really go anywhere. I mean, if you want to take a lunch, there may be some places to eat out there, but you don't feel like you're really, walking into a town or a city and getting rejuvenated. I mean, you either leave or you don't, right? And it's not like that in Cambridge.
I think that the founders of CIC are very good at creating a community, and that talent is always valuable. The ability to bring people together in a way that adds value besides just having an office space is amazing.
Well, I think CIC is very proactive in how they encourage their tenants to work together and to seek opportunity together. And it's not surprising when you look at the heritage of the company, and Tim and Jeff in particular, with their investment background, are very good at spotting opportunities and synergies amongst their tenants. And they were quite proactive in introducing us to different players in the group.
I would never call it like like standard rental relationship, because it's much more.
There is a lot of interest from Tim and Jeff and others who are here at CI to make sure that, how's the business doing? Like are there things that they can help to make things successful? And they are, I feel, genuinely interested in making sure that their tenants succeed.
They're also really quite proactive and innovative in soliciting ideas from you. So Tim and Jeff and Monica and the team would always be asking us of things that we thought might be a good idea, how we could improve things. Now they have a sort of an improvement a month project underway where they're challenging themselves to come up with a major improvement every month.
As a small company, we have a small set of colleagues, which is great. We love working with each other. But at CIC, we have a much larger set of colleagues around the office. It keeps things interesting. It's great to hear other people's projects and other people's perspectives on our projects.
When you have 25 people in the company, now you have a community of your own people. Before you have that, it's great that you have the shared cafeteria and other offices and other businesses. Don't discount that. It's really, really important to have a community around you when you're trying to build something like this, build any company.
I do not want to think about all the things that they do. I do not want to think about someone getting fruit in the morning. I do not want to think about whether the phones work. When there was an issue with the phones, they came in and they fixed it very quickly. So sort of the definition of good service is not noticing it and just a sort of lack of tension in the air. So, but just the littlest things made it. It was the small touches. How they really cared about everything they did. Music from music in the hallways. What's the right volume for that? How do you turn that down to snacks being delivered in the morning? That was very cool. I am a huge fan of this. Was then and still am.